Yo guys, what's good? It's your boy Tatro here, and we're back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. Okay, today we're gonna go ahead and do a showcase for Reginn, the free-to-play savior of Aether Raids. I cannot believe they gave this unit out for free. Like, she is so ridiculous. Compared to all the other free-to-play units, it's not even close. Like, she's in a complete league of her own. And where do we even begin? Like, there's so many facets to this character. I don't even know where we should start. I guess we can start with the fact that she has Kanto. A skill that is just way too good to be in this game, I think. They never designed Fire Emblem Heroes with the intent that you'd be able to use Kanto and make multiple movements. So Kanto is ridiculous. And it's even better in Fae than it was in the main games. Because instead of giving you access to any remaining movement spaces that you hadn't used, instead it just restores your full movement range. So Reginn is able to move 3 spaces and then move another 3 spaces after that, which is outrageously good. Also, by deploying Reginn on your raiding team, she opens up the special slot, so you're free to run a 6th unit for raiding offense, which is nuts. Like, look at the team that I have here. It's so insane. How do you defend against a team like this? It's just Reginn and then a whole bunch of dancers. So, like, as soon as I start going into attack, it's just pretty much a wrap. Alright, right there, we were able to abuse Kanto and Reginn's abilities to go ahead and break that structure despite there being a gravity trap right in front of it. So no other unit besides Reginn would have been able to get away with that. So already she's just proving herself as this insanely good offensive threat. Okay, now I will admit, this guy here, Kareem Hazo, he also comments on my videos, so he's probably watching as we speak. But this guy came up with a pretty interesting idea. So on his defense team, he's running this map here, which has a couple of trench tiles and some forest tiles. So he's got the right idea, I think, trying to restrict Reginn's movement as much as possible so she can't just completely dominate with the Kanto effect and Gale Force and things like that. So I think we're going to see a changing of the guards soon, where instead of just running Spring Breeze or Lava Flows or the mountain map, maybe we're going to start to see some different maps come into play. Typically the ones that have the forest tiles and also the trench tiles. Because any way that you can restrict Reginn's movement is definitely going to help you out. Alright, but right here we're just completely dominating. I was able to get Reginn on low health because we triggered a bolt trap with Kanto. And then we're free to queue up Wings of Mercy and go for the kill. And we've also cornered his final unit right there in the end of the map. So all he's got left is that Shinin. And we're pretty much going to be able to finish him off at our own pace here. So we're in the clear. Alright, I'm going to give it a turn so I can activate Dominance. And we'll be able to finish off this Shinin right there. Alright, so let's go ahead and do our thing with Duo Makaya. Press the I win button, basically. And we're going to go ahead and get the one-shot here. Alright, I probably could have finished off Shinin with Duo Makaya herself, but why not just let Reginn steal the show, because it is her showcase today. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next fight here. Alright, so what else is there to talk about with Reginn? So besides her being able to use Kanto and take multiple actions in a turn after breaking a structure or attacking a foe, she's also free to use movement assists and then take a second action with Kanto as well. So you can play her like Legendary Chrom and go ahead and use Reposition, or even Legendary Lucina and use Swap, and then have her move out of the way afterwards. So I think that's really unfair. That was the main draw to Legendary Chrom, was that he could take Reposition and then use the second action afterwards. But Reginn can do the same. So, like, why wouldn't you just go ahead and use Reginn? I can't believe they made this unit so good. Like, the people talking about Book 5 power creep were definitely not lying. Like, if this is what we can expect from Book 5, it's just going to be outrageous. And we, of course, have that Christmas banner on the way. So I'm wondering if there's going to be even more power creep on there. It's always the Christmas banner that introduces the craziest skills. So if they're ever going to do some more power creep, then the Christmas banner is the time to do it. I'm just hoping that they don't go too crazy. They are letting us spark up to 3 times on that Christmas banner. So it's going to be the first time we're able to spark on a seasonal banner. And I really hope they don't get carried away and make the units too broken. But we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, so right here I wanted to test his bolt traps so that I can go ahead and take some chip damage and we'll be able to queue up Wings of Mercy. It's just going to make things a whole lot easier when I decide to go in and start attacking. Alright, so let's go ahead and activate the bolt trap. And we can just go ahead and dance and reposition and get out of the way. So right there, what did I say about her being Legendary Chrom? She basically is. So that's just nuts. And we're basically free to go ahead and attack him on the next turn. Now, you do have to be a little bit cautious with Reginn. She's only able to activate Kanto in the first 4 turns of battle. So you don't want to wait too long if you're going to go ahead and just completely body the foe's team in 1 turn. So make sure while you're setting up your positioning and all of that, you do it within the first 4 turns. Also, another thing is that this is a very skill-based unit. So if there's one good thing to come from this, I think that is exactly what it is. You want to make sure that you know how to play Gale Force teams, how to position your units properly, and how to corner units if you need to. So it does take a lot of thought and a fair bit of skill to use Reginn the right way. But I mean, then again, look at the team that I'm running here, and how skill-based is this really? I'm just abusing Wings of Mercy and dancing with a unit like Reginn, and we're just pretty much going for the 1-turn kills here. So, like, I can't really say it's super skill-based. As long as you're used to playing with Gale Force strategies, then it shouldn't be too hard for you. But I don't really think too many people have messed around with Gale Force in Aether Raids. So hopefully our defense teams will stand a chance and will be able to successfully defend against Reginn somehow. Now, we are also going to be getting more heroes that open up the special slot, and some of them are going to be for defense as well. So, like we're able to have an extra unit on offense, very soon we're going to have an extra unit for defense. So, I wonder what people are going to come up with when we're able to have 7-unit defense teams. It should be very interesting to see. Right now, I think I'm leaning mostly towards Cav lines, because typically Cav lines are the best to run against Gale Force strategies. So they may be the best at keeping Reginn at bay, but there's just so many other things you could try, so I don't know like exactly what the go-to defense team is going to be after this point. We're just going to have to wait and find out. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about here is the special slot itself. So, I made a big boo-boo here, and I put Plumeria in the special slot. That's not actually what you want to do. So, by putting a mythic hero in the special slot, they're not going to have any impact on your Aether Lift score. And, of course, that's not what we want. We want the mythic heroes to be able to raising our score and also give us bonuses for the blessings that we have. So you don't want to have a mythic hero in the special slot. What you want to do is have a unit in there. Probably a bait unit, I would say. Because also another thing is, if the special slot unit gets killed in battle, you're not going to suffer any lift loss reduction from that. So I think it's a good idea to run a bait unit in there. And then you have them try to bait the entire enemy team. And if they can pull it off, then great. But if they can't and they get themselves killed, then big deal, because you're not going to lose any lift anyway. So that's one way you can play the special slot. But like I said, I mean, I'm a big dum-dum, so I put the wrong unit in the special slot without even realizing it. But of course, that's why we have mock battles, and we're free to practice and figure out what we want to do when we actually play real fights. Alright, right here, I'm going to go ahead and use Kanto to trigger the Bolt Trap. And it's pretty easy to deduce that's where his Bolt Trap is. Typically, you're going to want to place it on a spot that you cannot smite onto. So that was the best place to put it. And I guess putting Bolt Traps in a spot that you can't smite onto, how much is that going to hold up anymore now that we can use Kanto and just walk right into it after we go ahead and initiate an attack? I guess that kind of strategy isn't really going to hold up too well anymore. But it was pretty solid up until this point. It's just that Reginn is so bananas that, like, most of the typical strategies we were using before, I don't really think they're going to hold up too well now. Alright, as I say that, we are just making short work of this guy's team. So this is Mako, actually, so shoutouts to Mako. Pretty cool sub that I've got on the channel, and I like fighting their defense team because they have that really badass Marissa on it. Now, actually, here's a question. Would you guys be interested in me doing like a defense team workshop type of video where I fight you guys as defense teams and then maybe give you guys some advice on what changes you could make to make them better? I think people would be down for that, but just in case, let me know in the comments section, because I think that could be a good type of video to do, especially now that Reginn is out and people are going to need as much help as possible with their defense teams. Alright, next fight, we are up against a Cav line team. So, like I said, I think Cav lines are probably the best way to defend against Reginn. But as I say that, we're going to make mincemeat out of this defense team here. But it is a very invested Cav line, and I've fought it on stream a couple of times before. So he's got a whole bunch of these whaled up plus 10 units, and also Budding Bow, Brave Lyn. Like, that's pretty good. Like, Budding Bow is so nasty on these cavalry type units, but he does have a bunch of staffs, which I think you probably don't want to do. Because he has the staff cavalry units, I'm able to bait them right at the start. Because I've got Duo Micaiah and Duo Sigurd, and both of them just have sky-high res stats. So we should be safe to just get the opening bait with them. As long as you're able to survive past turn 1 against these Cav line teams, they start to fall apart afterwards. So that is the one weakness to Cav lines. Alright, right there we're able to use Kanto to just break that structure and get out of the way. And we're free to bait these two staff units on the next turn. And right after that, we're going to go in and run and gun. So here comes Brave Veronica doing absolutely nothing to the best unit in the game, in my opinion. Man, Duo Micaiah is still, like, one of the most ridiculous units ever. Still has the best duo skill in the game, and then she's such a counter meta pick, having Mystic Boost and then effective against Cavalry. And if you want to run her in Arena, she has effective against Armor as well. So there's like no downsides at all to Duo Micaiah. And on top of all that, she's a flying unit as well, so she can fly over these mountain tiles and just go ahead and attack at her own leisure. So there's like no downsides to Duo Micaiah. Alright, right here, I did a bit of a stat check on this Duo Mia, because I wanted to make sure that I'd be able to double attack her with my Reginn, and we are actually going to be able to do so. I'm going to be able to attack, and I'm going to be able to inflict Panic Smoke on her. So after we do all of that, Reginn will be able to attack. Alright, so I'm just making sure that I have good positioning here. And we're going to go ahead and dance Reginn with my Duo Sigurd. And go ahead and attack Veronica. I've also got Heavy Blade on her, so she can quickly charge up to Gale Force. So let's go ahead and use Kanto now and move her over there. And we're going to be able to get the dance with Plumeria. And right here, we can go ahead and get Gale Force and then go for the attack on Mia. Now, the only thing I don't like, as I said before, is that Reginn is fighting in this giant mech suit, and she attacks the foes with, like, missiles and rockets and stuff. So I don't really feel like that fits the theme of Fire Emblem. A couple of people have commented before that, like, TMS and Three Houses had modern weaponry like this, with that nuke thing from Three Houses, and maybe there were some mechs in TMS. But come on, like, TMS doesn't even count. It's more so a Persona game than Fire Emblem. And for Three Houses, I only played one route. I only played Edelgard's route, so I'm, like, not 100% keen on what actually goes on in the other routes in that game. But otherwise, though, I don't really like the concept of modern weaponry in Fire Emblem. Just stick to magic and swords, and I think that's good enough. I'm also not really a big fan of mech anime either. Like Evangelion and Code Geass, I wasn't really a fan of those. And I know there's going to be like a million comments now that, oh my god, how dare he call Code Geass a mecha anime? But come on, it really is. Like, there's mecha in there. That's good enough for me to call it a mecha anime. Yeah, so the only mecha anime I really got into was Voltron. And come on, I was like a little kid at that time when I was watching Voltron. So, you can't really count that as mecha anime. It's just me being a kid and watching what the coolest show was, I thought, on TV. Alright, this is going to be our final fight of the day, and we're going to call it after this. So once again, just like we've been doing all day, we're going to go ahead and rush right in with Reginn and go ahead and basically clean sweep in one turn. And we're going to be able to abuse Kanto here to easily get the breaks on his structures and then dance out of the way or move out of the way with Kanto. Alright, so one structure down, and then I'm going to go ahead and break his Dark Shrine on the next turn, so we have one open space to go in and attack that Legendary Chrom. He's not running Close Counter or Close Foil on Legendary Chrom. Instead, he's going for Mirror Impact. And I guess I can see why you would do that, because you want him to be more of a threat when he attacks. But I personally would just always stick to Close Counter or Close Foil on Chrom, because I like him to be more of a threat when the foes are attacking him. And because he doesn't have Close Counter, I'm able to just go ahead and catch wreck with this Reginn here and not have to worry. Oh, also right here, I can actually go ahead and use the duo skill from Sigurd to get Reginn into range, and we'll be able to attack from there. So yeah, like, partially the reason why this run is so ridiculous is because the units I'm using are crazy. But, like, what's stopping us from using a team like this anymore? We have 6 team slots to choose from. We're free to run, like, as many dancers as we want. And from now on, they're going to make sure that there's always a mythic hero as a bonus option. So no longer are we going to be struggling with bonus units that do absolutely nothing for our team. So I think from this point on, offense is going to be a complete joke. The real thing is going to be how good your defense team is from now on. So it's going to be very pivotal to people trying to do well in Aether Raids that they have a good defense team. But for now, we're just going to make do with what we have until they decide to give us that special darkness and special anime hero that lets us unlock the 7th team slot. Alright, but let's just go ahead and finish up here. We're going to get Gale Force after this attack, and then we can go ahead and attack Bramimond. And I've still got all of these other dancers with Wings of Mercy to help us out. So, pretty easy showcase. Or, pretty brain dead, I should be honest. Like, we really didn't have too much to worry about here. Reginn is way too good, and then the offensive team that I'm running here is way too good. But like I said before, what's stopping us from doing something like this anymore? We have 6 team slots now, and we also don't have to really worry about bonus units anymore. So this is how Aether Raids dies, with thunderous applause. But I will admit I am happy that the focus is more on defense teams as opposed to offense teams. It's always more fun building a defense team because you always want to see how well it performs. Whereas when you're playing on offense, it's always like, oh boy, I got to deal with all these cancerous defense teams now. So I do think this is a better design and a better way to make the mode more fun. So that's going to wrap us up for today's showcase. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing Reginn in action. Definitely, in my opinion, she is the best free-to-play unit in the game. And she is an offensive mythic hero done right, where she doesn't offer any support to your other units, but she's just so potent offensively that she gets the job done, and it's no problem for her. So, hope you guys enjoyed the showcase, and this is your boy Tacho signing out. So, take care, fellas, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.